272. Do you want to start at the bottom or go from the top?
I'll start once you get down and give me 10 press-ups.
he brought that through into the what was it?
In the post fight, yeah.
Post-fight, yeah. And John was like, "Congratulations." You got to rate that one. Let's go into that one. I think let's just go for it. Top of the card.
Yeah, I think we have to start with the Colby fight, man. Absolute domination, man. It's weird because, like, I think a lot of people were expecting it to happen, but a lot of people also held out for the possibility that Jorge could land something or he'd do more with the striking. But Colby just fucking shut him down throughout the fight. Yeah. Other than one Hail Mary punch in like round 4 that dropped Colby for like a second, it was just domination. He just ragdolled him. And he had his way with him on the ground. Most of the fight, Jorge was fucking fighting off like rear naked choke attempts. That's all that was really happening. But it was a bit of an anticlimax in terms of like this whole fight between like two guys that hate each other so much, and then for it to be like one-sided so bad, it's like a bit annoying. But it just shows how much more of a skilled martial artist Colby is than Jorge in there, to be honest. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, my opinion on it is that I think if you watch the previous episode, I think everyone predicted like Colby's just going to, take him down and wear him out and stuff. But I was a little bit disappointed with Masvidal in terms of his gas tank. Everyone knows Colby can go. For me, Jorge looked tired at the end of the second round. He was breathing very heavy in his corner, and I feel like he was underprepared for it. And the other problem, I think, is that, and this is a problem that all strikers have with wrestlers, they can't open up because of the fear of the takedown.
Yeah.
Masvidal actually said it in his post-fight speech. When he rocked him, he thought Colby was going to shoot. So instead of going for it and trying to get the finish with that one opportunity, stunned him, he should have gone in. But it's an advantage that wrestler like Khabib, like, the only reason Conor got hit with that shot because he's scared of the takedown. And it's a massive like psychological advantage as well. They can't open up, they can't strike. They're always constantly worried about if they're going to shoot on them. And if you think about Masvidal's big wins of 2019, he knows Till's not going to shoot. Askren's going to shoot, but obviously he sorted that out in the first round. And Nate Diaz, so like how creative and sharp he was against Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz never shoots, and if he does, it's crap attempt. He can't wrestle. Yeah. So he's wrestlers is, as he said, like, he's self-aware. He can't fight he struggles against wrestlers. And I think what you said to me after the fight, he has lost a bit of his explosiveness. We've got to remember 2019 was 3 years ago. And when you're around that age, you start tailing off at 37 years old. So it's a bit of a shame. And I feel like he should have maybe waited a bit. But I think, having the pay-per-view points and stuff, Masvidal thought, a big paycheck. And maybe I could land something on him. But yeah, pretty much flawless. Like, Masvidal was supposed to outstrike Colby, but really it was 50-50 on the feet and Colby 100% on the wrestling. So
I wouldn't even say 50-50, man. I think honestly, I think Colby was like, I gave Masvidal like the second round, I think, out of the entire fight. It was very, very close that round. But like even in the fourth, like when he smacked him and dropped him, like there was Colby threw like I think it was just after or just before a combination where I thought he was going to finish Masvidal off. Yeah. Masvidal started like fucking shelling up and stuff, and I was thinking, Colby's gas tank, like he's gonna do it, like what Poirier does, like just fucking throws a kick in the sink. I thought he was gonna finish him, but it was a bit disappointing from Masvidal, man. Like even in the clinches, like there was a couple of times where Colby exploded out of the clinch with like an elbow and stuff, and it's usually Masvidal that we're used to seeing like doing that. Like he done it against Usman and stuff. And I saw like a weigh-in picture of him when he weighed in against Usman and him when he weighed in for this fight, and he looked in like better shape, man. Like he looked leaner. He looked like he'd made a better weight cut. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's his age, man. Father, what they say? Father time's undefeated, isn't it?
Yeah, father time, man. Yeah. And I think it's a bit of a shame for Masvidal. And you could tell he was hurt by it, like genuinely in the.
Of course.
He was like, I lost to this guy, and he's been talking about my kids and stuff like that. I don't know if a longer camp would have helped him. I personally think it would have. For that gas tank, he needed that next level gas tank, but maybe that'd make him older, even more slower. I don't know. But where does Masvidal go from here? It's an interesting one because he signed. I think he's the third best paid fighter in the UFC now, according to the contract.
But you know what? When you sign a big boy contract like that, you have to be in big boy fights, man. Like normally, you could after like a 3-fight skid like he's on, you could say, "Oh, let's throw him in with someone like lower down the top 10 or outside of the top 10, like build him back up and stuff." But when you're getting paid that amount by the UFC, they're not going to do that, man. Yeah. I think an interesting fight for him would be like someone like Vicente Luque, where he can show off his striking. And I think that would be a good fight, man. It would be like a war. Like that would be a good fight for like fans to watch.
Yeah.
In terms of Colby, man, Colby's like, it's a fucking weird situation because that guy is so good, but he can't get a shot at Usman again straight away. And there's a Chimaev versus Burns fight coming up in April. What I've mapped out in my head is Chimaev Burns happens in April, yeah? The winner of that comes through. Colby basically took no damage in that fight. He says he wants to fight in July.
Yeah.
He fights in July against the winner of Chimaev versus Burns. Usman Leon happens in the summer. And then in the wintertime, Colby, whoever wins out of Colby Chimaev fights fucking Usman again in the winter, man.
But
that's the only thing I can see.
But what if Gilbert Burns and Hamza have a war and they're out for 6 months?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. This is why Dana always says we have to... what is it? He always says that same thing. Yeah. We're going to have to see how things play out, basically. So I don't know, man. But it is...
Because this is what Bisping came on and said he was wrong to call out Dustin Poirier. Now, Colby is looking to elevate his name now. Poirier's big after Conor. He's one of the biggest names. He wants to come up and fight Dustin. Fair enough. I agree. I think that's a good fight. And Colby will probably do the same what he did to Masvidal. But what Bisping's point was, this guy needs to fight a few more contenders in that welterweight division. There's a lot.
Yeah, he does.
In that top 6 that he hasn't fought. He hasn't, like, if we look at it now, he hasn't fought Burns. He hasn't fought Luque. He hasn't fought Edwards. Hasn't fought Bilal, hasn't fought Sean Brady. So, you know, I kind of agree, like, he needs to cement that contender spot. Let's run through a bit.
Yeah, I do agree, because even if you look at his fights leading up to the Usman fight, he had Robbie Lawler, who was, like, over the hill.
Yeah.
Then you had Tyron Woodley in between the Usman 1 and Usman 2. He was over the hill. Masvidal, potentially, we could say over the hill, but it's all good and well saying this now, but if Usman sparked him out on the weekend, everyone would have been on his dick. So it's a weird...
RDA was a lightweight going up. That's his other big one that he's won.
Yeah.
So this was what Bisping's point was in his channel, to say you need to start taking out people in your division. If you clear out that top 5, you have to get another title shot. But Colby's 34. Let's not forget he can't have too many. He ain't got time to run through, like, you know, unless he fights like 3 times a year. But he's not very active though. Colby will literally sit out and wait for a shot.
Yeah, I know. This is the thing with him though. Like, he says he wants to fight in July, but does he actually fight in July? That's the issue with Colby. Like, he's one of those guys who will happily just sit out and wait, innit? But I don't know, man. That division, the whole division is so active. I don't think you can afford to sit out and wait anymore. Like, you've got Burns who'll fight anyone. You've got Chimaev that'll fight anyone. Bilal Muhammad's like fucking calling people out constantly on Twitter. Like, I don't think you can sit out. Even if he fights Bilal Muhammad, I don't think Bilal Muhammad really likes him. So that might be a nice little fight there, but probably be like quite boring. Like, they'd have to put that quite far down the card, I think. Man. But yeah, man, it's interesting for that welterweight division.
Yeah.